Hello, good evening, wonderful viewers. I am so excited to come your way, once again. I hope you've all had a wonderful, Sunday. And, just like we do on the Inside View, we share, success stories and also we empower and also educate people. And, in the month of, March, we celebrate women all over the world. And so if you're watching, me, I just want to tell every woman out there that you are special, you are valued, and also you are loved. Tonight, I have with me a young, beautiful woman who has done, exceptionally well. That, she's worth, celebrating, and also, I'll say that she's a role model, to a lot of, young girls out there. And tonight, I feel so honored to have her on the Inside View, just to empower more women out there not to give up on their dreams and also to see themselves, as I'll say, like better versions that they can, aspire themselves, to be. And so tonight I have with me Dr. Isabella Opoku, the youngest, neurosurgeon, um, you know, to be gazetted in the, let me get it right, by the World Federation of Neurosurgical Science and Societies. And that is the highest neurosurgical organization in the world. I'm Dr. Isabella Opoku. Doctor, welcome to the Inside View and good evening. I'm sorry, you're muted.
Sorry. Thank you so much, Nana, for having me. Thank you
I am
so
so
much.
privileged to have you, honestly. Seeing, your achievements, I think you need to be celebrated. You need to be honored, and also you need to be, I don't know how to put it, but I think you are one of the role models that I think you should be giving so much attention to, because what you've done, it's so amazing that every parent, every mother will be proud to have you as their daughter. And for me tonight, I'm so proud to have you as my baby sister. I know you don't want me to say baby sister, but tonight, yes. Yeah, I'm so proud of you. So for you, how has your day been, like for you? Your day um, today? How have you been?
Thank you so much, Nana, for your kind words. Today it's quite a relaxing day. I'm off duty. I don't have to be in the hospital, so I'm just home since yesterday. Actually, just taking it easy, cooking, music, and just home stuff. So today I'm just home relaxing. Yeah.
I'll please urge, anyone online to share this link and to invite as many, people to come and join in this discussion. We are celebrating women, this month, and our sister has done exceptionally well. So please, let's call all our daughters, our aunties, to come and listen to Isabella Opoku. Um, I just want to know, because not every parent or not every child is privileged to be raised, to know their self worth, to know their value, and to know where they are coming from, to truly understand their identity. So for you, how was your, growing up like? The kind of environment that you grew up in, and the kind of family that has really shaped the kind of woman that you are today. If you can actually share a little bit about your background.
Okay, I'll share a little bit about myself.
Yeah.
I'm Dr. Isabella Opoku. Everyone, I've been introduced already. I'm a neurosurgeon, and I was born at Kofredia Central Hospital in the late 80s. So when I was about 7 years, my mom was transferred from Kofredia, where she was a headmistress of St. Agnes JSS, to a small mining town in the eastern region called Akwetia. So I attended the then Ghana Consolidated Diamond primary and JSS. And then from there, I continued to St. Teresa's Secondary School in the same town. I had a pretty, how do I put it, a very normal background. I mean, upbringing. I'm from a very, how do I, an average family. My mother was a teacher. Now she's on pension. My father was a large scale farmer. So it was just an average family, not much wealth. Actually, there was no wealth, if I can put it that way. It was just a regular upbringing, in a strict schooling environment. The then Ghana Consolidated Diamond primary and JSS was quite a strict environment to school in. So I think that really molded me. That the school was a platform that really catapulted me into what I am right now. Yeah, that's a little bit about me.
Wonderful. So, for you, was it always your dream to become a neurosurgeon, or and if so, what really inspired that dream? Because I'm just looking at you, and it's just
No,
like we are talking about a woman with no limits and a young boy
definitely
with
no.
yes.
Sometimes we have plans, goals, aspirations, and then life happens, and then everything is rescheduled, your path is redirected. Initially, when I started medical school, I had my medical education in Brazil under the PEC-G scholarship program, which was like an agreement between Ghana government, some African countries, and the Republic of Brazil. So we're basically selected, and then when you arrive, you have to go through the language, system for about 8 months, and then you have to write an exams to get into a federal university or a public university. Usually, that's the case. And so I was allocated to the Federal University of Bahia, in the state of Bahia, the capital city of Salvador. That's actually the first medical school in Brazil. I think it's over 200 years old. Yeah.
Ah,
So when I started medical school, initially I was so glued to my urology professors. All my classmates, all my professors knew I was going to be a urologist. But then somewhere along the line, when I got to, I think, my fourth going on fifth year, my mother was diagnosed with a brain tumor, meningioma. And so urology was not a subject or a course that I liked. I did that course, I think, in my second year, and I didn't really like it. But well, I had to pass so that I could move on. That mentality. So when my mom was diagnosed with a brain tumor, I started learning about the brain and the tumors, and I was just trying to understand what was happening to my mom at the time. you know so that sort of shifted my focus from urology to neurosurgery. And then by my final year, I knew I wanted to be a neurosurgeon because my mom's diagnosis came with a lot of pain, a lot of tears. So I was like, you know what, I don't want a lot of young women to go through what I have to go through right now. So what can I do to contribute to this kind of disease? Because at the time, my mom's tumor was so complex that doctors at Kolebu said, your mom's tumor, we cannot operate on upon her in Ghana, so you guys need to take her out. So I was like, whoa. I was By my final year, I was just determined to become a neurosurgeon and see what changes I can
excuse me.
impact as far as Ghana is concerned. Yeah.
Wow. So for you, like we all have our personal role models. So for you, do you have any women or like any particular person that you draw, personal inspiration or professional inspiration from?
Well, professionally, I mean, day-to-day life, I would say my mom has strength, but then professionally, my boss. Ling Feng. She's a Chinese woman. She is based in Beijing, the International Neuroscience Institute in Beijing. She is a woman of inspiration. Look, this was PLA, People's Liberation Army. She was a soldier, and then later she specialized in orthopedic surgery, and then she became the first interventional neurosurgeon in China. This was in the 60s when she went to France to train. For those who do not really understand what I'm saying, interventional neurosurgery is a kind of neurosurgery that you don't have to cut the patient. So we use a small keyhole sort of. So we make an entry around your thigh area, and then we get to the brain with our tools. And coincidentally, that is, I'll come to that. I'll speak on that. That is what I'm subspecializing in right now, but I'll get to that. So this woman realized the need for her country to have someone trained in this field to be able to help, because it's mainly used for treatment of stroke, and there was no one in the 60s in China doing that. So she went to France. She took herself to France without speaking French, went through the system, and then came back to set up the first interventional neurosurgery center in Beijing.
Wow.
Look, this is a wild woman. She's a strong woman, and she was my boss. She was the one who trained me. And the funny thing is, initially when I started training, I was like, oh, I'm not going to do this. I want the open surgery. That's more of my interest. But later, I don't know how, when I got my final year of training, I sort of shifted to her side. I don't know. It wasn't even intentional, but well, she's a woman. She's a very strong woman. And look, she's the first woman to organize a world conference, world federation, for you to have the resources, the structures to organize a world conference, to invite all neurosurgeons from all over the world to one particular center. It's not an easy job, and she did this in 2019. She's a fantastic woman, very strong woman. Yeah, so she's my Ling Feng is my inspiration professionally. Yeah.
So now we just want to know. I mean, just educators who, like what you do, or like who is a neurosurgeon?
Well, a neurosurgeon is basically a specialty in the field of medicine. So that's neurosurgery. So a neurosurgeon deals basically with the brain, spine, and then the nerves in the human body. So in the layman's language, I would put it that way: brain, spine, and then the nerves. Yes, that's the work of a neurosurgeon. So anything that has to do with the brain, the spine, and then the nerves, it's a neurosurgeon. Yeah, surgically, we have the neurologist, and they deal with the clinical aspect of it. But when it comes to the surgical parts, yes, it's a neurosurgeon who does that.
So now let's come to the whole. I mean, when you were first gazetted as the young female, neurosurgeon, how was the experience like? And if you can just share with us how you felt, and the whole
Wow,
journey with us.
back.
Take us back.
It was unexpected. I remember when I received the email from we have a head office, the world, we call it the central office. At the time, I think it's still located in Switzerland. So the secretary, that is Theresa Chen, sent me an email that I have been recommended, by the board to be gazetted, to appear in their gazette. When I opened the email, I read, reread, and then I wept. I wept. I could only reply to her email the next day to accept it, because they needed my acceptance to be able to gazette me. And then they requested I send something small about myself, write something about myself. And I remember sitting behind my computer, typing this thing and weeping, not crying, literally weeping,
Mm-hmm.
Because it's been a very painful journey, throughout till this point. And so the feeling was just that of sorrow, if I could put it that way. That was just it. Yeah.
Wow. Because you left Ghana at the age of 19 to Brazil to study, and then I know that you've been traveling across the world. Moving from one hospital, all these big teaching hospitals to study. I mean, if you're to talk to any young girl out there, I mean, you experience the pain, the struggles. If you could actually share with us, because we're empowering women, and this month, so we want you to tell us how the journey has been for you.
Well, the journey, I always say, has been a teary one, you know. But what I always tell young women who approach me, who send me WhatsApp, I see all your Facebook messages and all that, is to win through hard work. You have to win through hard work. And you need God and the spirit of resilience. And the word resilience, I have that in abundance. I have a lot of resilience. You cannot just push me, or just, I'm not that kind of person that you can easily move around, and that kind of thing. Yeah. So what I always tell young women is to have a spirit of resilience, God first, and then the spirit of resilience. And you try to build a career of relevance. Career of relevance. Not, I always tell, don't confuse popularity with relevance. So let me give you an example. Gifty Auntie can do an interview and post it and get, let's say, 500 views. A young popular girl in Ghana can start twerking on the internet and receive like 3 million views.
Yeah.
I always tell young women, don't confuse popularity with relevance. Build a career of relevance and win through hard work. It's been a lot of hard work. When I talk about having the spirit of resilience, and as for me, I think it's just naturally that is how I am. I'm a very strong woman, and I have resilience in abundance. So the storms came. I was hit with so many things. And one of the reasons why I worked when I received the email to be gazetted, even when I had a year and a half to complete my course, was the fact that I started my training. And after I started my training in February 2017, on the 20th of December 2017, I had to abandon my training. A lot of things happened to me, a lot of things that were supposed to push me out of the training. And a lot of things were orchestrated, a lot of things were created, just so that I don't complete my training to become a neurosurgeon. And that was one of the reasons why, when I was gazetted, I was in the mood of sorrow. For you to be just called, you are not even I wasn't even a neurosurgeon at the time, because I was still in training. For I had a year and a half to complete the whole 5 years that I was doing technically with World Federation. And then you're not a neurosurgeon, so technically you're not supposed to even sit with neurosurgeons. But you receive an email that said we are going to gazette you. I'm like, how? Like, you did not find all the big names, all the like, I'm not even a neurosurgeon yet. Why do you want to gazette me? But the spotlight fell on me. And I think it's all, I believe so much in God, and I always tell people that if you have a clean heart, no matter what people try to do, gang up against you, no matter what people try to do, you will always win, and your hard work will always, see you through. Yeah.
Wow. So sorry about that. I'm just coughing, and I don't know why. I'm a bit emotional as well. Listening to your story, a young girl, 19, traveling, and it's like you're faced, you're facing the world all by yourself, and just pardon me. It's I mean, it's
Yeah.
not easy, to um, listen to that and be full of courage and resilience. Excuse me. Um, Sorry. We are talking about like women empowerment this month. Like in your own words, what is women empowerment? Because like we have a lot of definitions going on, and we'll come to the point where you educate our women on this women empowerment thing. But I just want you to educate us a little bit on women empowerment.
Yeah. The woman who is empowered is a woman who is aware of her environment, the woman who is educated. So I would say raising the status of women through awareness and literally literacy and education. And this is linked to acceptance and respect in our society, because we live uh, in the man's world. Unfortunately, we are in 2023, but we still live in the man's world. If you take my profession into consideration, my specialty, neurosurgery, since independence, the Republic of Ghana, until when? Last year, we had the first female neurosurgeon trained locally in Ghana. You see, so we still live in the man's world. So I was just asking myself, why are women not going into terrains that have not been, why are people not venturing into places where we are not? Why are we still sitting down? Why are female doctors still into OB&G? Everyone is going. Why are we not venturing into areas that are male dominated? So women empowerment comes with education, awareness, literacy for young women, so that they can raise their status, be aware of their environment. And when a woman is empowered, it comes, like I mentioned earlier on, with acceptance and respect in our societies. Yeah, I mean, when you take our African society into context, for example, America, United States of America, has the highest number of female neurosurgeons. They are about only 10%, just for you to have an idea. 10%. How many female lawyers don't we have in Ghana? We have a lot of them. And every day we are churning out female medical doctors from our medical schools, Konfanochi, Kolebu, and all the UDS. Why are women not going into fields like neurosurgery, fields like orthopedic surgery? So women empowerment has to do with raising the status of a woman through awareness, literacy, and education. Yeah.
So for you, what are the barriers? Like what are some of the barriers to women empowerment? Because like you've made mention of all these things.
Proper role models.
Mm-hmm.
Proper underline. Because not just in my field, people who have been on this path, like I mentioned about neurosurgery. So it means that before Dr. Mabel, she was like locally until, I mean, last year she just came out last year,
Mm-hmm.
So until her graduation as a neurosurgeon, there was nobody for our young women to look up to, and she even had nobody to look up to because there was no one before her. So proper role models. And when I would extend these barriers to even other fields, people these days are just finding random women on the internet and calling them their role models. That is why I use the word proper role models.
Proper role models, okay.
You don't just pick anyone on the internet as your role model. And that is what our young women are doing now. They prefer the TikTokers as their role models. They prefer the naked women on the internet, on Facebook, on Instagram as their role models.
The
So
talking.
this is a serious barrier. So what are we aspiring to be? You know, without role models in the system to look up to. This is a great barrier for young women. Yeah.
I mean, I'm so glad that you touched on the fact that we lack role models, and it's. I mean, it's some of the barriers and to empowering our women, but also, as you also know that like we cannot succeed, when half of us are being held back. So for you, what holds women up, and what are some of the unseen barriers, to women rising?
Hmm. That's an interesting question. What holds women back? It's we are Africans, so let me talk uh considering the African context. It's
Yeah.
the cultural pressure that really holds us back. And I am an example. I'll get into the details of that. A woman in a Ghanaian African context is seen in a certain way. You must be married at a certain age. You must have children at a certain age. And these are precious, cultural pressures that really holds us back because everyone is looking at you. I remember telling people, family even, and even friends that, oh, I'm done with neurosurgery, but I need to do one more year of interventional neurosurgery. And there is no neurosurgeon in Ghana who is into interventional neurosurgery. Like I explained earlier on, the kind
Yeah.
of surgery that you do, you don't need to cut, and it's we use for stroke and for some tumors and all that. There's no neurosurgeon doing that. There's only one person in Ghana doing that, and he's a radiologist who went to Singapore to train in that. So, but we need a neurosurgeon in the field because it's really important. There are some details that the radiologist will not be able to handle. It has to be a neurosurgeon. I mean, it's good to have a neurosurgeon in that field because that is actually our field when it comes
Yeah.
to dealing with that aspect of the brain. But and this kind of training that I am undergoing right now requires radiation.
Hmm.
Radiation. So I cannot be pregnant whilst I'm undergoing this training because the first 3 months of pregnancy, you cannot be exposed to that high quantity of radiation.
Yeah.
It will destroy the fetus. Even if you succeed, your fetus, your child can be born with 10 fingers, 10 hands, and you would give birth
Wow.
literally to a monster. Yes, because so I told people that I'm going for this training. There's no one doing this thing, and I'm interested in it. I want to like, hey, you're leaving again after 16 years abroad. You're going for another 1 year. Hey, when are you getting married? When are you having a baby? That's all I hear. So what holds the African woman back? What holds the Ghanaian woman back are these cultural pressures of childbearing, of marriage, you know,
Yeah.
and it's really very serious. And I'm talking from my personal experience.
Okay.
And people don't understand that, you know what? Okay, I'll get married. I want to have a family. I'll get married. I want to have children. But well, I can put that on hold a little bit because I want to do this. It's just uh 10 months to 1 year. I'll be done. I don't need to get pregnant, have the load of all these children. And I always tell young women, young girls, young medical students who approach me who want to get into neurosurgery. Unfortunately, childbirth and neurosurgery is a dangerous combination. You can do it. I've seen people do it. In fact, I was talking to a friend, someone that I know. She's a resident neurosurgeon, a female in the US, and she just had her second child. So on WhatsApp, I sent her a message. I was like, "Yo, you have a second child?" Because I saw the picture of the child on her status,
Hmm.
and I was like, "Yo, girl, you had a second child. I just completed um uh, uh neurosurgery, and I'm even skeptical about having a child right now and everything because I need to do one more year." And she was like, "Isabella, I don't know my left from my right with these two children with me." That was what she wrote to me. you know neurosurgery training is no joke. If you want to combine it with childbearing, marriage, I think it's good if you have a supportive husband. So that one, it's good. But if you want to combine with childbearing, two children, a child, two, three, and be training, when you are done with the training, that's okay. But I always advise them, try and avoid pregnancies during your training. That is the residency period. And I understand, I mean, our unseen barriers, our cultural barriers, and the pressure is actually mounted on you when you're done with your training, when you're a neurosurgeon like myself, and I'm still not married and I don't have a child. These are some of the barriers that really hold us, pull us. Because if I want to listen to family, if I want to listen to friends, I'm not supposed to do this interventional neurosurgery. You are done with neurosurgery and neurosurgeon. Come on, go get married, have babies, and stop the nonsense. You're doing. So cultural pressures from our African setting is really, really something that really holds us back.
Wonderful. I mean, now that you've said it, how do we educate or conscientize our young ladies who want to go, not necessarily like your field, or like any other higher field, and also educate our parents to accept that if their children or their daughters want to go into that higher field of profession, how we should actually hold them back, but we should support them, because sometimes we have a lot of amazing, brainy young women out there who want to aspire to be to be astronauts, all these higher, but sometimes they have mothers or parents advising them against it. Oko school baby, you might not even get a husband. One will be quite like your childbearing period or age, might take some time or even prolong or something like that. How do we educate our parents, especially our typical African parents, to know that what women are now capable of doing anything that men are also doing? Because
Yeah.
this is our month, so we just want to break every barrier. Yeah, if you can share.
I'll start with the young girls. I always tell them that, look, don't look for outside validation. Me, a lot of people see me as an I don't care kind of woman. I'm not looking for outside validation. I always tell people, I cannot be a good mother if I'm not a good woman. If my children do not see me achieve or being relevant, I don't just want to follow the generational trend of just giving birth, just being another woman giving birth. I'm not looking for outside validation. So I start with, I always tell the young women, don't look for outside validation. See, we are all looking for fulfillment. That's like the highest expression of yourself. And if a young woman thinks or believes that she'll be fulfilled having a child at the age of 20 or 19, or I have friends who completed first degree from KNUSC, University of Ghana, and they just decided they were going to get married and have children. Some of them are even not working because they said, oh, after in Ghana, it's difficult to get a job. So after first degree, they are just home and their husbands are working. They are just taking care of their kids. If you get self-fulfillment from that, that's okay. But to the parents, you don't have to force your children. Because someone like me, if I were to be forced by my parents to do certain things or to go on a certain path or a certain trend, you're just gonna frustrate me. You're just gonna frustrate me. And unfortunately, I get some of these messages very, very frequently. I get some of these messages. Young girls who approach me, they want to do this, their parents think they should do that. We are all looking for self-fulfillment. Look at the interest of your child.
Sure.
Check if your daughter, your son is going to get self-fulfillment from the path that he or she is choosing or has chosen. We've seen people in the past who wanted to get into music and the arts industry being told that, oh, I know the that kind of thing. So you need to have this conversation to the parents. You have to have this conversation with your child, with your boy child, your girl child. You need to explore their interests, their needs, so that you don't box them into becoming something that they don't want to be. Otherwise, they will not be fulfilled. And like I always tell people, what are you looking for? You're looking for something that will make you happy, that will make you fulfilled. And don't look for outside validation. To the young girls who always approach you, don't look for that. It's not relevant. Yeah.
You know, excuse me. I'm so glad that you've said that, and we are still talking about empowering our young girls. But then, to your surprise, or like to our surprise, that the younger generation now think that those who have actually taken this women empowerment movement think they are just hiding behind the whole thing to facilitate their hidden agendas. What do you say to that?
Can you repeat your question again?
Sorry, I said that this generation
Mhm.
thinks that the so-called women who have actually taken this women empowerment mantra
Mhm.
or movement so seriously.
Mhm.
It's like it's just
A
I mean
facade.
just a facade or just purely like rhetorics. But then when they get closer to these big mummies, they don't even want to share their space. It's all just to promote their hidden agendas. I mean, how do you find that? I mean,
Yeah, I think that is true.
okay.
And there's this Wendy Shea's song or lyric, and she says, like, "Munche Equino" kind of thing. Yeah. So people are just all over the place. They have their hidden agendas, and they would not really show you the way. Let me just put it that way,
Yeah.
in that raw statement. They will not hold your hand. They will not be your help, especially when it comes to women. Look,
Yeah.
I always tell young women, and people who do not know me, when they hear people just talk about my professional side, oh, she's a neurosurgeon, I'm interested. Oh, and yeah, wait, yeah, she'll be a feminist, she'll be this, she'll hate men, she'll be this. When I meet young women, I tell them that 95% of the people that will push you off the cliff are women. Like opium in Ghana, we say oboko fioku.
Mm.
You know, 95% of the people you will find who hit you kofioko are women, are your own women. The same people who go about uh preaching women empowerment, uh writing all kinds of things on social media. When it comes to let's do and see, when it gets there, that is, and I have this experience. I don't know if I should share it, but I think I would.
Please.
When I went through the selection process of World Federation to start my specialization program, lots of documents. I have to send lots of documents, your license from which country, this, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so there was a document that I needed for the Ministry of Education, Ministry of Health in Ghana, stating that I am a Ghanaian medical doctor, with passport number, so and so, blah, blah, blah. And I had to turn in all my passports and all my documents, my training from Brazil, to show that I'm really a qualified medical doctor. Unfortunately for us, because I was on scholarship, Brazilian government scholarship, my certificate actually goes through the Ghana embassy in Brasilia, and then it goes to the embassy in Brazilian embassy in Accra, and then you go and retrieve it from there. So for me, there was evidence. I had that records there. I mean, in at both embassies, showing that I was really a medical doctor trained in Brazil, blah blah blah, and all that. And so I basically needed the letter from the Ministry of Health saying that I am a medical doctor and I'm a Ghanaian and I should be considered for my training. This was after I'd gone through all the interview and all the selection process. And at the time, hey, the letter must be signed either by the Deputy Minister of Health or the Minister of Health. And so I remember that I knew somebody, I don't want to get into detail, I knew somebody who knew the Minister of Gender at the time. Yesterday, when I was I was just going through my phone. I actually found the document. I would show you. So I contacted this person who knew the Minister of Gender at the time. I told, I have gotten this opportunity to be trained as a neurosurgeon. And at the time, there was no neurosurgeon in Ghana, at the time.
Yeah.
So, you would think that the Minister of Gender at the time would be excited. Wow, we have a Ghanaian neurosurgeon. A Ghanaian medical doctor going to be trained as a neurosurgeon. Let me contact my colleague who is the Minister of Health so that I could get this letter for you. You've gone through the selection process. I'm done. Everything has been proven, beyond reasonable doubt. That was a candidate. When the Minister of Gender at the time was contacted, and I remember at the time they were having this MPP rally at Koforidia precisely when she was contacted. She's the feedback I got was that she cannot help me.
Whoa.
And without that letter from the Ministry of Health, I wouldn't be sitting here. I needed that letter so badly. It was the last letter. I had my license, I had my everything from my university, from school, all the recommendation letters, everything. I was left with that letter. And so I had a relative who knew an MP at the time. So this MP contacted the Minister of Health, the Deputy Minister of Health, who was also an MP. So this MP that my family knew said, oh, I know the Deputy Minister of Health, and he's also an MP. He will come to Parliament on this day. So send me all the relevant documents to prove that, yes, you needed this. And then I would get him to get you the letter.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was a male, 2 males who decided we are going to help you. Wow. And I found this letter on my phone yesterday. Signed. I actually have to go and look for this man. He's called Kingsley Abuaji Jedu MP, Deputy Minister of Health at the time. This is the letterhead. This was the letter I needed. That it only took a colleague, I contacted a gender minister at the time because I knew someone who was very blood close related to this gender minister, that he could just put a phone call through to the Minister of Health and say, hey, we have this girl who has an opportunity with World Federation. This is the highest organization who wants to train her as a neurosurgeon. She needs this letter. The gender minister said she couldn't help me. And today I look back and I'm like, when I take my phone and I go to my contacts and I type Minister of, a lot of numbers come because I have been able to climb to this stage. So today I have ministers on my WhatsApp list. I have them on my contacts because I received this help to be able to train to become a neurosurgeon, to become, in quote, somebody. So it's easy now to introduce me. It's easy now for them to find me. As soon as they find, oh, my relative who has stroke, they want to discuss their own health issues and that of their relatives.
Wow.
So when we talk about women empowerment, I sit here and I'm saying this for the first time on record that when I had the opportunity to be trained to become a neurosurgeon for the Republic of Ghana, the gender minister turned me down. And she's not obliged to help me. And that is one thing that I always tell young women. Nobody is obliged to help you. That's it. You just have to understand that language. And most of the time, people that will come to your aid are most of the time men. I'm done.
Ooh. Wow. Most of the people that come to your aid are men. This is very profound. This is like, you rest your case. It's like, end of discussion. Women, I think we are just our own enemies. Wow. Men. Interesting. Excuse me. Excuse me.
I would have to go and look for the man, the deputy minister who who helped me. I would have to look for him. I don't know if he's still an MP, but I would have to look for him when I get to Ghana, just to say thank you.
You have to. We have to. So, to my women who are, actually out there making noise about women empowerment, I think we should go back to the drawing board. If we want the men to take us seriously, I think we should hold each other's hand. I think we should just bear each other's up, like we should just bear ourselves up. Not just hide behind this mantra for our own, personal gain. I don't think that is right. So if we want to achieve equity in the total equity in the long term, I think we should be taken seriously. And these are some of the things that, that needs addressing. And I'm so glad that you didn't mince your words tonight. You've been so blunt. You've said it, as it is. And I'm really, inspired by your story. And trust me, my respect for you has gone way, 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 way up there. Way, way up there. I'm super proud of you already, but tonight has gone, onto a different dimension altogether. To be so bold and, to say that, and also daring whoever should have helped you. I would say that, look, it's in your face now. We have our own neurosurgeon in Ghana, a female, for that matter, who is now here sharing her story to inspire our girls. And I think it would have been a plus for whoever, that's was supposed to have helped you and didn't. But I know that today you are here, being celebrated by the whole world. And that's the most important thing. Okay. So for you, how do you balance your life, your academic life, your professional life, your personal life? How do you do it? Because your work is so demanding, so daunting. How would you do it? How do you do it?
let me be blunt and honest. Some days it gets clumsy. It's clumsy some days. You want to put everything together. You want to do everything. I was in Beijing training. I was doing my PhD. I'm yet to do my defense, my final defense to have my certificate. I was in PhD. I was doing my residency training. At the time, I was doing a lot of research and publication. Sometimes it gets clumsy, but how I balance work, and I always tell people that it's lighter when you're doing this alone, or in the worst case scenario with probably a husband. But when in my case, I don't have a child, and I have been wondering. I mean, traveling around the globe, different continents. World Federation took me around Brazil, Europe, and then Asia and all that. So it's easier and lighter for me because I'm alone. I'm not married. I've always been in a relationship, and uh, sometimes, when you have issues with your partner, your boyfriend, it weighs you down a bit. So imagine having a husband. That is more difficult, when you go through difficult moments or trials or whatever. And if you have a child, let's say, who is sick, and you have to go and stand in the operation room and do some surgery for some crazy 17, 18, 20 hours, you're always looking back. But fortunately for me, and what I think has really helped me to climb and climb well, it's the fact that I have been in. But hey, everyone is different. I'm not saying you should be like me. So for me, I don't have an immediate nuclear family to say I'm balancing family life. And no, I'm wandering alone. You get it. Basically, I don't have anything to balance except myself. My parents are old.
I like that.
My parents are old. They have been taking care of my sisters who are in Ghana. Whilst I was roaming South America, North America, Europe, Asia, I'm just moving around, trying to fulfill my dreams. So there's really not much to balance when it comes to family life, and I just have to balance my hobbies and my education. When I'm bored, I do a lot of music
Mm-hmm.
listening. So I've, you put on this, and I love our local Ghanaian music. I follow a lot of the artists. So I'm not a TV person. You would hardly find me behind the TV watching TV. I prefer watching documentaries on YouTube and stuff like that. Yeah.
Sure.
So that is how I unwind. And so I always tell young women or even young men, try as you're climbing in your career, depending on your field, try and cut down a bit on the loads. You know,
Mm-hmm.
if you are someone who can read, because I have friends who are into not into neurosurgery, but a different medical field. Let's say they are training to become a dermatologist or OBNG and everything. And they have children, and when you call them, sometimes they call me, they are crying. Your child is sick, they are on duty for 48 hours. Last weekend, I was on duty for 48 hours. In fact, it started even before the 48 hours. Started when Friday night and I ended Monday morning. I mean, Kwana Menam. For me,
Wow.
and it's not like, oh, this, I'm encouraging people to not to marry or have children, because I want to get married. I want to have children. Very soon you see me with my big belly. That, that
Ooh, I
that's
can't
that's
wait.
for sure. But what is the timing? So that you don't put unnecessary stress on yourself, so that you can be able to achieve more as a woman. I've told people I have been able to achieve this much because I don't carry a lot of load around. I
Mm-hmm.
move alone. And so when I feel like, okay, now I'm satisfied, I have my PhD certificate, I'm a neurosurgeon, I have a subspecialty in interventional neurosurgery, I'm still in my early 30s. Okay, I can decide to take a whole year of go and sit in the beach at Maldives with my big belly, have my children wherever I want to, and then be a good mother to them, you know. So that's really what I do, and that's my strategy, and I unwind basically with music. That's all.
Wow. Do you know, Doc? There's something that's actually going on that I want you to educate our girls on. We have a lot of really young girls out there who are now being, I'll say, they think that okay, when they're veiling, educated, the men won't come, or it will be so difficult for them. So now, instead of aspiring to be big whatever, they've just given up on their dreams. Wanting these boys that they see on social media, and or even the boys that they sit in the same classroom with them. They've just given up on their dreams. What do you say to such girls?
My dear, I'm just laughing. Sorry. I was in Ghana uh, late December till early March for vacation, and I happened to meet one of the HR managers of Prime Time, the organizers of the National Science and Maths Quiz. So he basically invited me to be one of the mentors. So maybe from next year I'll start the mentorship. I'll be part of the mentors for that program. So I went to meet the quiz mistress, and then when we left, he decided we meet one of the young quiz mistresses. I wouldn't mention the person's name because it's a private conversation. And the person, to my surprise, was telling me that there was a year, I will not mention, girls from one of the top 2 or 3 best schools in Ghana, girls' best schools in Ghana, just decided that they were going to go through the contest anyhow when they got to a certain stage. I don't remember what it was, a semi-finals or something like that, or before that. I don't remember exactly. But they decided, you know what, we are going to go through this contest anyhow, and then we would just go home because they are sweethearts, high school sweethearts. I wouldn't call them boyfriends because usually we have sweethearts from other male secondary schools who were teasing or telling them that they were two Kankpe women seeking to contest with the men, get to the finals, get to whatever. So the girls were frustrated, and from that year, they started they brought in the psychologist to psych up, especially the girls.
Wow.
Like I was so shocked when she was telling me this. We're standing outside. This is one of the young quiz mistresses we have on the National Science and Maths quiz telling me this. That, so I was like, even at that level, we have young women going through this because they are intelligent, because they are in a competition basically with men. So they want to leave. They are being teased. They are being told that they can't pay because now their sweethearts prefer their young secondary school girls who are on TikTok, twerking, showing some skin, showing some thighs. They would prefer those girls on TikTok, their mates from high school on TikTok. The boys prefer them to the country girls who are representing our schools in the National Science and Maths quiz. And when she told me that, I just couldn't believe my ears. I couldn't believe my ears. And if I don't use myself as an example, I have been to places where I have been told that you cannot sit here because you are too educated. You are overeducated. You are overqualified to sit here.
You're joking.
I've been through that. I've been through that. So unfortunately, these things are happening. Even at my level, I'm going through that. And what do I tell young women? Again, don't seek outside validation. Don't.
So, what do you want to tell the young woman who is aspiring to be like Dr. Isabella Opoku? What do you want to tell the girl?
First, I always tell them, don't aspire to be like me. Aspire to be better than me. Not aspire to be aspire to be better than me.
At least for starters, I just want to be like Isabella Opoku. Then before, I become a better version of Isabella Opoku.
Isabella Opoku.
Yeah.
If like you put it, you want to be like me, you must have a tough skin. And I always talk about resilience. You will not survive. This world is a jungle. This world is a jungle. We are all here to survive. If you are not tough, you'll be pushed off the cliff. First, God, have a clean heart. I always tell people, have a clean heart. Have a clean heart, because no matter what comes your way, the storms, the traps that will be set by especially people close by you, you must have a tough skin. Be a prayerful woman and have the spirit of resilience. You must have the spirit of resilience in abundance. Otherwise, you will not survive this jungle. It is not just about intelligence. Look, I always tell people, you know what? You can ask I know a lot of my classmates who attended St. Rose's with me will be watching. I was not part of the Brilliant Science and Maths quiz squad in St. Rose's.
Really?
I was not the best science student in my class. I was just a little above an average student in my class. I think when I was in the JSS, I would say yes. But when I went to St. Rose's, I met the real sharks. I met Dog Boros. When I was in JSS, at the time, I was representing my district so many times in quizzes. I remember STM is Science, Technology, and Mathematics Education Clinic for Girls. I represented my school GCD and actually the districts at the national level. Myself and two other. One is a doctor, Tiradako, and then Elsidianane. Elsidianane's daughter. She's an engineer now. So, at the GSS level here, I could be considered as a shark. At the GSS level, when I went to Roses, I met the real sharks. I met them at Roses, and I vanished. I was literally floating to survive in St. Roses, literally. So intelligence is not enough to be like me. No, it's not enough. I did not make the 8 A's and then the big grades that my friends were making. But anyone who has come across me, whether JSS, primary, especially those who sat with me in class, will tell you that I'm a tough girl. I have the spirit of resilience in abundance, especially on the outside. You know, if you are not someone who touches me emotionally, like blood related and stuff like that, I can be, you know, sometimes very, you know, when it comes to family and stuff, you must be soft and all that. But if you come from outside and you want to look for my trouble, I mean, I'm not the kind of person you can just push around. And you know, if you want me to do something, you have to explain to me why. You know, so I always tell the young women, having 8 A's and 6 A's is not enough for you to become a neurosurgeon. The neurosurgical training anywhere in the world. And I was talking to, there's this Ghanaian girl who also made headlines. She's in the US training. These things we don't say them aloud because she's also still in training. Look, because you are black, because you're a woman, you are in a male white dominated field, they're going to try to step on you. You know, some of the men will do it. Some of the women you come across will do even worse. So I always tell people, if it was not my intelligence that sustained me through my training. I have not gotten into details about how there was a break, about 1 year break when I started my training after my first year. There was a break. Something happened. Something very serious happened. And then World Federation decided we're going to take you to another center in Beijing to continue your training. There were lots of traps set for me. It was not my intelligence that pulled me through. So if you want to be like Dr. Isabella, you must be a tough woman. You must have not just resilience in abundance. Yes.
Resilience. So anybody watching us that wants to be like Dr. Isabella Opoku, she recommends abundance overdose. Yeah. We are still, listening to your story and how you've become, what you are today. To what is the life or a day in your life, a neurosurgeon, or in your daily professional life? What is it like for you, a day in your life?
Okay. Randomly, our system is divided into, let's say, two. If you're on call or you're not on call. If you're on call, basically you're in the hospital sitting there for I don't know how long, 24, 48. Usually mine is 48. So then I'm just in my green or blue uniform, waiting for surgeries. And I mean, that is a different context. But let's say when I'm not on call, usually I'll wake up by 5:15. I should be up because usually I have to be there at the hospital by 7 a.m. So I get up in the morning. I always do my devotion. I don't joke with my devotion. I always do that in the morning. And then if I have something for breakfast, I just grab. Or if I don't, I go to work. I should be there by 7 and then take breakfast over there. And then it's just ward rounds. We see the patients that we have operated on the previous day. And then by 9, we are in the operation room. We are starting. And that when you don't have time, say, oh, me and your surgeon, me, and then your surgeon, me pon 5. I'll close at 5. No, you don't have that because you get into surgery. Sometimes it gets complicated. You're supposed to leave at 5. You leave next day dawn, stuff like that. So it's a field that is really not. I mean, the surgical field. All of us have this kind of lifestyle. It's always like that, and because our kind of surgery is very delicate, and we require longer periods. An average brain surgery takes about 9 hours on the average. That's a regular tumor that you are taking out, which really you don't have any complication, you don't have anything, so you just did the clean job and just left, something like that. But if there are complications, you're going to take more. You don't even know when you're leaving the operation room. So yeah. when I'm on call, I just wake up at dawn, I go there, and I'm stuck there till the next 48 hours until I'm back. I get to take a shower, sometimes. And I always tell people sometimes I will be in my menses, menstruating, and I have surgery. So before surgery, I rush, I change my pad, and I always use the always the nights, the heavy ones.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, but after 7 hours, the blood is already dripping down my crocs, my socks, and you have to stand and finish. So when I'm done, you see most of us, my friends, if you see them rushing to the bathroom to go clean up and change even before we take the patient from the operation theater to the IC. So it happens. I mean, these are things that women have to go through. It doesn't matter you have menstrual pains. And yeah, those things that don't even say it for anybody to hear that you are having menstrual cramps. So go home and find some other job to do. You're having menstrual, nobody really cares. This is the nature of the job. We stand to work for hours, and it's not like the other time. I always get this question a lot. So throughout the surgery, you cannot even scratch. If you scratch your hair, you have contaminated everything. So for 12 hours, you don't scratch your ear, you don't pass your hand on your face, you don't scratch your hair, you don't scratch no, you're just standing in a certain position and you're just working for I don't know how many hours it will last. Yeah.
Wow. Sorry, but I'm just shocked because, wow.
I'm just shocked.
Honestly, I mean, to that extent. So, okay, let me ask you, has it been a day or a time that you've just asked yourself, what am I doing here? Why am I putting myself through this? Have you, maybe for a day or maybe a time that you felt that, Isabella, this one, Charlie, it's enough. Have you gotten to that breaking point that you feel it's okay?
I have not met a single neurosurgeon, especially the women, who had. We don't just ask once. I have asked myself. I've lost count how many times I've asked myself, what am I doing here? Especially during the specialization training program.
Mm-hmm.
I've lost count how many times I've left the ward, I've left the operation theater to the bathroom just to cry, wipe my face, and go back to the operation room or to the ward and talk to the patients as if nothing happened. I have not met a single, even the men, they cry. And as for the women, I've lost count how many times I've asked myself, what am I doing here? Especially, I always tell the young girls, look, neurosurgery, okay, it will project you, it is beautiful. You want to be a neurosurgeon? Look, you must be ready for the training. And this training is best done when you don't have loads behind you. When you have not left a breastfeeding child at home. I'm not saying you shouldn't do it. I'm only telling you what worked for me. You can decide to be pregnant during your training, leave your breastfeeding child, and be thinking about them at home whilst you are stuck in an 18-hour surgery. That's fine. Or be a choice. You decide what is best for you. I always tell people that life will only give you experiences necessary for your evolution. You are the master of your fate. You decide what you want to do. I will tell you what worked for me. If you approach me, a young girl, you're a medical student, and I get lots of them. When I posted this flyer, I received lots of WhatsApp messages, young girls, medical students. Some are just in their first year. They write to me, they want to be like me. You must be ready to be like me. It has been tears, pain, and suffering to this point. And I'm still going through. Now it's better. It gets better when you become a full certified neurosurgeon. But then, in our African setting, it never ends because family will come at you, friends, but you have to pick and choose your battles.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. I am blown away. Before we end this discussion, um, African settings where we just embrace men to be, breadwinners. We celebrate, men of their success. In fact, we just train men to be, I would say, like to aspire to be like whoever they want to become. And then we raise our girls to be just, homemakers. With the school, just after O level, like let's say SHS, yeah, it's okay. So it's like we just push our men to go up, and then we just our women, they at least ubako and and why, because a woman's place is always in the kitchen, to just marry, have children, and see that kind of the homemaker thing. We drum that into our daughters ears all the time, and then we just push our men all the time. I just want you to say something, to educate our parents, to change this narrative, because it looks like that is, one of the few things that holds our women back. So if you could just advise our African parents tonight, and I mean like anyone watching us, just to project our women up tonight. Yeah.
I always tell people that timidness, in a Ghanaian African setting, I kind of say Uchima. I have even forgotten the word, but timidness. That is what has restrained a lot of, uh, especially young girls, from reaching their full potentials. Because in their small family settings, they are told they cannot do this, they cannot do that, you cannot say this, you cannot say that. And if you are an outspoken young woman, very vocal
Oh,
like myself, and I casadodo, and I say we are too known, and I say, and our parents have sort of accepted this as the norm, and so this is something that is passed on from generation to generation.
sure.
And today, as I sit here, I have mentioned earlier on that I was not the best student in my class, especially in St. Joseph's. I did not earn 8 A's. I did not even have 6 A's and 6 A's. Yes. But I see a lot of people my age group who had a lot of potentials stuck behind me. And I'm like, this girl was so brilliant. She was better than me when we were in school. Why is she stuck behind me? Like, and it's obvious. They themselves come, they talk to you on WhatsApp, they approach you. It's a generational something that is passed on to our parents, and they also pass it on to us. So brilliant girls are literally raised up to be timid. And when I go to Ghana and I talk to some of my friends who are doctors, they say, hey, oh dear, aha, yes, how, and trust our how, ha. And you see them very timid. Uh, they are stuck at one place. They are very comfortable at one place because that is how they were raised up. So when if I want to talk to a young parent, a young woman who's coming up with kids, I want them to raise strong women, vocal women. Yes, when you are very vocal, or when people realize that you're not a timid woman, you're not the woman that they can run over, you're going to receive lots of punches and slaps, and they come in different forms. They'll never come physically, like I'm putting it literally. But that is what will toughen your daughter. That is what will toughen your son. So we must start advocating for young women, especially like my age mates who already have children. How are you raising your boy child? How are you raising your girl child? We should be able to raise them to become very tough, independent women. And mind you, that no one is born vocal. Nobody's born an achiever. No one is. It is life's experiences that we go through, and especially the negative ones, the painful ones.
Mm-hmm.
There is no growth without pain. No. There is no growth without pain. We should be able to allow our women to explore. Even for me, I'll allow my girl child, a teenager, to make mistakes. Like explore. Go out there and be daring. When you make the mistakes, you come back, we do the correction, we go back to the drawing board, we restart, we start all over again. So we should be able to, we should start raising women, especially, and take out all this timid attitude of women who are so comfortable with, okay, maybe a first degree, let me get married. And I know somebody, I don't want to, I can mention this, a friend who attended school with me, married to a doctor. And I remember having a conversation with the person some years ago. The person was like, she's done with school when Juma ain't and he's going to get married to Dr. So and so, a male. And I knew this statement was coming from her mother because I had heard her mother. I was close to the family. I had heard the mother saying that it's a family whose mother relies solely on the husband, that is my friend's father, for financial support. So my friend completed first degree in Ghana. My friend, I mean, just like, oh, when your doctor be worry and obesha mama, and that is what we are seeing now. That's her aim, to find a man of mama. This is the kind of
So
leaders
perfect.
we are raising.
Yeah. Don't you think that the likes of you being so vocal, being so independent minded, so confident, will have issues, trying to, let's say, secure a relationship? Have you, gotten any wahala in that, like in that area? I just want to be a bit, a bit naughty.
I always get it. I don't know if we should be talking about this. But people who always meet my boyfriend and I say, okay, and I get these comments a lot. I'm sure my boyfriend is watching. He wouldn't want me to be talking about him. He's online watching, definitely. But when we are together, we meet people from the outside. Well, he's so comfortable with me, but then people around us, family, friends, they will meet us and the comments come every time. I get them every time. Then yeah, they don't do, and I wait there, like or you say I get them, every time. But I think when you meet a man who knows your value,
Fantastic.
who knows your value and respects your ass, eh, he's able to figure out, separate things. And of course, I always also teach young women that we need to be humble at home. If you get married, if I get married at home, I don't go, I shouldn't go about, the macho way. I'm a neurosurgeon and this, and at home, I'll be a mother to my kids. I'm going to do everything that any other woman, even the woman who is an illiterate, uh, whatever chores, we do all that. I should be able to be a mother to my kids and do all that. So yes, sometimes it becomes difficult. I always say that a lot of people want me as their friend. So most of the time I'll be with my friends when I went to Ghana. Oh, this is my friend who's a neurosurgeon. That's the fun of it. You want people wanting you in their family as sister, cousin, whatever. But when it comes to you being their
Sister-in-law.
daughter-in-law, sometimes it can be it can be problematic, because for you to be at this stage, at this point of my life, I always speak about resilience, and it's not something that comes on a silver platter. You develop resilience, and yet the bombs that are thrown at you on the path of life, that makes you a tough person, that makes you a tough woman, so you sort of naturally develop some characters and traits that may be seen as off. Even people who are not neurosurgeons, even people who left us when we were in JSS or secondary school to the US, we they come back, we see them in a difference. As a girl, why are you too westernized? Now where they doing? Why you are off? You're totally off. If you left us during our JSS and then you come back university and you meet us first year, we'll look at, hey, we have that. You'll be too westernized for your own classmates.
Yeah.
So imagine the experiences that I have been through, the continents I have lived on. I've met different cultures, I've met different people, I've met the wicked, the nice, I've met people close to Satan, I've met people close to angels, I've met all kinds of people. So it is my experiences in life that will end up building my character and that macho thing that people see on the outside. On the outside.
Yeah.
On the outside and the line. It's just,
I do understand. You know what? We've come to the end of our discussion, and we know that your area of specialty is a male-dominated area, and here you are as one of the few women who have been able to break through or break barriers, and that you are now a woman with no limits whatsoever. You are there, and you're still wanting to do more. What are your final words to the young women who want to penetrate into this male-dominated field, a field that is so daunting, that requires a lot of hard work and resilience? Before we end. Yeah.
My final words to everyone listening now, especially to the young women. I say this because I see your calls, your WhatsApp messages in my inbox, my Facebook. You guys keep bombarding me every week with messages, this, that, this is my message to you, especially to the young girls. Try to win through hard work. And remember, purpose over trends. Purpose over trends. Because I talk about trends because we are now in the social media era. Put your purpose ahead of your trends. The trends will eventually they will come. When you are up there and even when you cough, it's been published. The other time I saw Joy reports that Gifty Auntie was eating wachi. It's still on the internet that she was sitting on the floor eating wachi, and that was a headline being published by Joy, my Joy Online. You have to win through hard work first. Know your purpose. Try to fulfill your purpose. The trends will come. It will get to a point, even when you cough, it will be published on CNN. Just leave that for later. I know we live in the social media era where it is easier for you to train, but is that sustainable? I always tell you, build a career of relevance and never confuse popularity with relevance. You can be very popular in Ghana. I know a lot of young girls. I don't want to mention any name, but you know them. They are on Instagram, they're on Facebook. They are very popular. They get lots of views, but are they relevant in our society? You must you must build a career of relevance and win through hard work with God and a lot of resilience. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Isabella Opoku. Considering how busy you are, to spare us some of your time to come and empower us, to throw more light on, how to empower our young women and our young girls. I do not take your time for granted at all. I do appreciate you so, so, so much. And I can testify that if anyone should chance upon this interview, they will be, educated, they will be empowered, and also they'll be challenged to do more. And just be a woman with no limits. And now, to any parents watching me, let us raise our girls to be barriers, or to be barrier breakers, to achieve anything that they want to achieve. We have listened to Dr. Isabella's story, a 19-year-old who left the shores of Ghana to go and study medicine in Brazil. And not in Brazil alone, she's traveled, to almost, every country that you can name it. And she's still traveling. And she's still pursuing. Can we just push our girls to do more? We just want to empower our girls alongside our boys so that we can have, total equity. In as much as, we want to empower our girls, we should equally empower our boys as well, so that our girls will not be intimidated by, these boys who are not empowered. But then because they want to fit in, they would have to just, forgo their dreams and aspirations. And I'm thinking the abusers, the female school dropouts, the knife crime, and everything that we experience is pointing us to this conversation. And I would just urge each and everyone out there, especially to the young girl. Dr. Isabella said, build a career of relevance. Don't be moved by the few change that you receive from, I don't want to mention name, from all these, like social media, owners or whatever it is. The few money that maybe you might receive. So in so doing, you just be there twerking, going naked and all sorts of, things that we are now seeing. That will not take you anywhere. I understand that, Ghana, so everybody, just wants some, short change, to be able to survive. But then just ask yourself, how relevant can you be in the next 5-10 years? Can you come back and watch those videos and be proud of yourself? No. So please, let us now start changing the game. If we want to be women of relevance, if we want to be women without limits, then it starts from today. Thank you for your company. Anyone that has actually spent time to watch tonight's discussion, I say thank you. And to all women out there, happy International Women's Month. And we celebrate you, we love you, we value you. And we just want to, appreciate, our neurosurgeon, Dr. Isabella Opoku. Thank you so much, Doctor. We love you. So enjoy your week, knowing well that the whole world celebrates you for your achievements. Thank you. Thank you, Doctor. Take care.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Nana. Thank you.